And for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Simpson served for 7 years as mayor of the village of Alexandria Bay. We send our own condolences to his family. Roll call, please, Molly.
Trustee Strauss. Trustee Dorigo.
Yes.
Trustee Fulmer. Here. Trustee Millett. Mayor Jarvis.
Here. Public concerns. Donna?
Hello, I'm Donna, and I'm here on behalf of Taya, and I wanted to ask the village board if we could again hold our annual snow tournament this year. We're looking at the date of Sunday, March 6th, with the format of the event being the same as it has been for the last 12 years.
What's the date?
Sunday, March 6th.
March 6th.
Wide open.
I have no problem with it.
What's that?
I have no problem with it.
Do we need a vote?
Yep. Motion to approve.
I'll do a motion to approve, snow on March 6th.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Trustee Fulmer, seconded by Trustee DeVito. All in favor? Aye.
Donnie, do you have a start time? Perhaps
They start at 10 o'clock.
10?
So, yep.
not. Okay.
Thanks, Donna.
Thank you guys very much, we appreciate it.
You're welcome. Why don't we just alternate so that Bubba says every other time we say yes or no? Or yes or second, the way it's going.
Any other public concerns? Anybody? Correspondence. We have one letter. My name is Mia. I'm contacting you on behalf of Alzheimer's Support. She just wants to inform the community that there are care facilities for families in need of care for the loved ones that have Alzheimer's. She just wondered if we could let our residents know about Alzheimer's Support. There's a website, and it can be under the villageofalexandriabay.com. And we have one note under, once again, we have sidewalks in the village that aren't,
What are you looking at me for?
I'm just looking that way, that haven't been shoveled. Person didn't sign it. It's amazing. We have, funny thing, we have snow in the winter in Alex Bay and the grass grows in the summertime, and we still have to send notification to take care of both of them. Something we probably should look at at a future date. Minutes. Need a motion to approve the minutes from January 11th, 2022.
Approve the minutes for January 11th.
I'll second.
Motion by Trustee Dorito, second by Trustee Fulmer. That's all in favor. Aye. Opposed. Motion to pay the bills. Abstracts number 17 and number 18 as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
By Trustee Fulmer, second by Trustee Dorito. All in favor. Aye. Opposed. It'll be short. Trustee reports. Judy.
First, okay. The good news of the day is that today we got an email from the DEC telling us that we can proceed with facilitating the dive park. So that's a good thing. There's a short window between winter low water and spring high water and snow. So we're gonna, with Jared's help, we're gonna work to schedule the village doing as much as we can, and then the other, and hopefully we'll be done and have a ribbon cutting that is finished after, 4 years. With FEMA, we'll have to tell Fred Schmidt we, used the money finally. And then, did you give them a copy of Kevin's letter? You've had one, okay. And Jared can help me explain this with the sewer plant. I know we have applications in for grant funding for water and sewer facilities infrastructure. But in the interim, we have to...
Sorry, I didn't get a letter, so.
You didn't get a copy? Oh. Did you get a copy of this from...
I get an email
You got it?
from
Okay.
Kevin.
Okay. We still have to flow and flush. We have a problem at the sewer plant. We have 2 pumps down right now, and a third is about to go. One, we just got the estimates this week to repair them. One is $3,700 to repair. The other is $5,800 for repair. And the third pump, we don't know at this time. The problem is that the soonest they would be able to get, correct me if I'm wrong, the soonest this is saying that they would be able to get parts would be the end of April into May at the earliest. It's $8,500 to purchase each pump. We need 3 of them. If we ordered them tomorrow, we would have them here next week, and Kevin and Pat would install them. So this is something we're kind of in an emergency now, because if something would happen, say the third one went out tonight, and correct me if I'm wrong, they explained to me that if something went out in the middle of the night, and by the time they got in the morning, got everything up and running that they had to make it drain, it would take 12 hours. And if we were in the middle of a rainstorm or high flow, whatever usage, it might take 15 minutes to back up the village. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I got that. So we have the money in the budget, but I need a vote to be able to purchase them tomorrow.
So we're looking at,
25,000.
we're looking at 2 or 3 pumps.
3 pumps. We need 3.
Right?
Yeah, the
If you
third.
replace all 23 of them, it's over 25,000.
He says,
Okay, right.
on my email, it says, I would like the board's opinion whether to repair both pumps, repair 1 pump and order 1 new, or just order 2 new pumps.
Well, the third one's about to go. At the place where we
Okay.
get them, they have 4, or they had 4. So we either will get 3 or whatever they have left.
If they got it in their budget, right? Is it there? They got the money in the budget?
It is there, but
Right, with the,
spending after this has to be very, very closely watched. I mean, he has, the money's there. If we need 3, then yes, we can take the money.
I think
Can we
the
get
bottom
by with-
line is, you need the pumps to run the plant, and if we don't have the pumps,
right, this is,
we're
Backing up. So
We're-
I'd like to make a
we're
motion.
gonna be in the poo situation, really.
I would like approval to, allow Kevin and Pat to order 3 pumps. Is it, I don't know which one does it.
So, to explain a little better, we have 3 influent pumps that takes all the village's sewer, and then that pumps it through the plant. At this time, high flows, we need all 3 max,
right.
wide open.
Especially
now-
going into the busy
Right.
season.
Right now, we have 2, but one keeps on kicking out, it's going to short is what it is. It's called earth, so what it's doing is shorting out. So we're only really running 1 pump. Now we have 2 return pumps that actually take all the sludge out your settling tanks, and they go out to the weirs. One of them pumps are down. That's why they're down. We're gonna try to repair them, but again, with everything being so, you can't get these parts, you can't get these parts, well, when we can get these parts. So it's cheaper in the long run and a sure thing, just to get the motor.
Right.
Yep.
How old are these pumps? 10 to 15 years
Yeah, I
old?
don't know.
15,
15.
So,
yeah,
So roughly how
I
much?
was on the board when they did it, and happened to be
What
the
were the other
company that was
pumps we
hired, my
replaced?
brother's-in-law
That water?
was one of the
We've replaced something once.
workers
Since I've
on
been
it.
here.
The big motor down the water plant.
They're 15 years old.
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew
Well,
there was something.
I would like to, I spoke, emails from Kevin, I talked to Pat, and I talked to Jarrett, and I think we should get 3.
Yes, so do I.
So I would like to make a motion, or for approval, that we are allowed to purchase 3 pumps. Right, I need a motion?
Second, okay, yep, let's get them done,
Motion.
yeah, let's not monkey around here. Okay,
Do I need to?
Motion made by trustee Former, second by trustee DeRigo to purchase 3, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, I'm gonna do roll call, trustee Fulmer,
Yes.
Mayor Jarvis,
Yes.
trustee Drigo.
yes,
And if I could, make sure the minutes reflect that it's an expressed emergency condition, and because of that, that's why we're proceeding as quickly as possible.
Okay, the only other thing I have right now is that Jarrett and I are starting to talk about sitting down to meet with Kevin and Pat, and then discuss different things we need for budgeting, for, you know, things that need to be done that are under my purview, the parks, you know, the Casino Island Bridge, you know, different things like that, some playground equipment we need. So, that's where we're going, and, I am at some point gonna sit with, Thomas and or Ryan, I don't know who it will be, and go over, just to familiarize myself, to make sure I'm understanding totally the EDU and water billing system, and then for budgeting. That's all I have.
Speaking of water billing, that was a mess for the last couple of days with Molly and the printers and the new cards.
But that,
That was 500 miles off to the side when it was printed, so it finally took
they were here all day yesterday.
all day
weren't they?
yesterday.
3 of them?
3 of them.
The water programmers, our copier programmer, and our IT people were all here yesterday, or on the phone and conferring how to fix it.
After doing it on the phone all day Friday with the office. So the bills did go out.
The bills are gone out, and we extended the
Today?
time, we gave everyone the 30 days still to pay their bills, you know, without penalty, so, they're out, finally.
Trustee DeRigo,
I got nothing.
you all set?
Yep.
Sure.
I really don't have that much to talk about. Of course, I had mentioned that we were hoping to get our vac trailer, which indeed it did show up on time, so we are in possession of that. As of right now, we have a dump truck down for hauling snow. We're still gonna be okay with it. It's not that big of an issue. But again, just keeping up with the snow, trying to move snow. It's keeping us busy, so. That's all I have.
And let me just say, talking about sidewalks, I did come in yesterday and talk to Steve and Molly and tell them that my guys shovel the Walton Street sidewalks all the time. But when the snowplow comes down Walton Street and makes that curve and it gets narrower there, the snow piles up on the sidewalk in front of my house. So, you know, I don't get them, you know, within usually 24 hours, even with that. I mean, we're all shoveled within the normal time frame, but even with that, if anybody complains, we do, like today it's cleared.
We're doing a benefit wise for Brewster Willix, one of our DPW foremen who's critically ill with cancer, and we're doing a benefit on March 5th.
March 5th, it is.
A dinner. And
So,
that's on the
I just
website.
want to let people know that this is for one of our own. He's been with the village 24
24 years, no.
So,
No, we didn't put it on our sign or anything at this time, and that would be ask permission by the board to do that.
No, but it's not, is it on our website?
No, I didn't put it anywhere until I asked permission from the
Oh, I thought I
board.
saw
I think we
Okay.
should,
I think we should put it on the board and the website.
Okay.
Do you need a vote?
I don't think so.
No.
No, it's just a courtesy, you know.
all right. So our prayers are with him. Lee, zoning.
I might comment on the sidewalks and the snow. I sent a series of 3 mailings out 3 different times. I think the first mailing was 12 or 13. and then it dropped down, two parcel owners have got a second letter. One did respond to the letter to me, and I explained what the problem was, and we'll find out tomorrow if it got corrected or not, but, with it. When I took on the responsibility, I made it known that I only here one day a week. You know, Wednesday's the only days that I can do that visual, you know, on it, so. Back in July of 2020, the ZBA approved a area variance for a fence up on Otter Street. It's supposed to be 2 foot off, and the owner had asked to be closer. The ZBA granted it, but in the process, they wanted an agreement between the two property owners. They would have access to one of the owners. And we left it up to them to get a verbal agreement between them. It went on for like 6 months, and I suggested a third party try to mediate the problem. So I called on Jim, and their office was not successful, and the options were presented to the gentleman that had the applicant, and he has removed his fence, and he's gonna put one up 2 foot off the property line. So I notified Jim's office of the owner's determination, you know, of it. So I just want to bring the board up every once in a while. Someone will say, you know, whatever happened to the Otter Street issue. So that's resolved. The fence is down with it, and the owners is coming in for a permit for the fence 2 foot off the property line. I know I brought this up at last month's meeting. The no parking thing. And I don't know when this book was written, and who they had reference to, whether they used Galileo's telescope. But the description of some of the streets in there, they talk about going north on some of the streets, and the description from point A to point B, well, you're not going north, you're going south. So I think there's a lot of corrections that need to be in this, and I guess I would suggest a committee set up, either with Jarrett, myself, and someone from the board or the village, to go through and correct some of this. There's places on Washington Street, they're parking in the village right away, and there's other places they have room if they would park parallel instead of perpendicular to the property lines, but this needs to be looked at. So I would suggest that a committee be set up to go through this and see if we can make the corrections. I suppose something like this, you know, in a court of law, if it's gray, you know, the village probably may not have much of a stance on it, but I'm not the Philadelphia lawyer here with it. So, later on, you're going to talk about the extension of the sign moratorium. It doesn't look like the comp plan committee is going to have our final draft ready before it expires. With it, so I, like the board to consider an extension of it. We're getting close to a rough draft, I guess we could say, Russ.
We are, we're making progress.
With it's a slow process, and, hopefully, we're doing it right, but again, everybody won't be happy with it, but, I guess that's about what besides trying to set up a committee and working on legislation on no parking, and then the possibility of the sign ordinance being handled by the planning board instead of the ZBA, instead of the village trustees, excuse me. Those things take time to draft something and for a resolution, then to set a public hearing, and, something we just can't do in 30 days.
Are you leaving?
Am I what?
Are you leaving?
Oh, not for a few minutes.
Well, is he the one that has the name of the company that somebody needs to call for the electric car station?
It's
That
right
was
here.
free? We have that? Okay.
In the minutes, yeah, I have
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
We talked the other day about what would it take just to move the sign approval from the village board to the planning board. In the meantime, even though the new law hasn't gone into effect for rules and regulations for signs, but for the planning board to take over the issuing of permits or the denying of permits for signs.
It still would be an amendment to your local law.
Right.
So it's basically, if you think of it, it's the same general timeframe involved with adopting your local law as amending your local law. It's still the same public hearing requirements, et cetera, so.
So it's best just to wait until the process and then continue on with the
And presumably.
extension of the sign moratorium.
Yeah, presumably those types of issues are gonna be included within, any amendment as far as processes and application, et cetera.
Okay, so that has to be suggested. The board wants to, when they're all ready to go, we want to be ready to go to say, this board does not want to handle signs anymore. It goes directly to planning and zoning. So,
It could be in a subsection of the law,
so when
that
you're,
the issuance of signs is under the jurisdiction of the site,
Okay.
of the planning board.
as long as we're on top of that,
But you'd have to amend your local law
Right.
anyways.
Yes.
okay?
So that would be in the process
The whole
that we're going
process
through
of it.
anyways, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Police report, police department had 24 complaints, 2 arrests, 0 VMT, tickets issued, 4 warnings, 1 parking ticket, 1 warning, and 19 building checks submitted by Officer Josh David. Old business. Ready streetscape projects.
I know you guys had your meeting earlier, so
So we
Yeah,
everyone's pretty much
so this is
updated.
looks like a combination of the Ready projects and the streetscape projects. For the Ready projects, the plan, I guess for your benefit, Molly, is to have the notice to bidders ready by the middle of next week.
Okay.
So it can be advertised late next week, maybe over the weekend.
And I'll have to put that in the paper for you, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll send the document as a Word document to you. So
okay,
it can
yes,
be
please, Word.
transferred easy.
So we're talking possibly getting it up to bid on February 16th.
Correct. Well, I'll get the notice to bidder to Molly, and it usually takes, correct me if I'm wrong, Molly, a couple days to make it.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, because we have that new
Doesn't-
website we have to send it to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the bid opening date
Yep,
is going to be March 17th,
At 3
okay,
p.m.
at
St. Patty's Day,
specific time,
at 3 p.m.
and that's all of my paperwork, right?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
St. Patrick's Day at 3 p.m.
Wow. Okay, you bringing the green beer?
Sure. And that doesn't have to be a board meeting, that's,
Just a meeting,
Just a
bid
public-
opening, right?
yeah,
And we just,
open to the
and then
public.
we just read them that day.
correct.
Got it, okay. I'm learning.
Anything else, Greg?
No, Judy mentioned the funding programs for the water and wastewater projects, and I haven't heard anything as far as when they may make an announcement yet. Hopefully it's within the first quarter of this year, but they haven't mentioned a date yet.
Something we need to talk about more, that I'm
Yes.
in this is we did discuss it and we didn't get any grant funding for water meters
Correct.
and a new program, because it is just really a lot of time for them to physically go out there and read the meters and go check the meters and reread the meters. And,
Definitely. Yeah, and it's, so that program was just for the meters.
Right.
The current funding application, we included that as part of the overall project.
okay,
So we still haven't heard on those, correct? That's the one
And
you're
we have
talking
not
about?
heard on that, on
Okay,
this program
so we're
yet.
still waiting to hear for that, okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if that program comes out again, the green infrastructure program, it makes sense to try again.
yeah.
I think they're just prioritizing communities that don't have meters first, so eventually they'll go through those.
Number 2 is budget workshops.
So, we have 3 dates, so we can do it 3/8, 3/9, or 3:10, and Tina will come and work with the whole board that, one of those days, so I was seeing what trustee Drigo,
What time was she?
she's gonna come here for the whole day, she'll be here between 9 and 10.
And she'll meet with everybody.
She will
Throughout
meet
that
with,
day.
yes, this is where everyone sits down and goes over everything, your wish list. Now, remember everyone, February 18th is when I'm supposed to have all your budget sheets in to me to present, to start going over things. So the 18th is when you should have talk to your departments and
When will we have the rest of this? Did she say?
just what I got there.
Well,
So that is your choice. The 8th, 9th, and 10th is what the 8th? March 8th is a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Thursday. Do you have any preferences when you will be here?
Right now, Wednesday and Thursdays are out for me, so. it'd
Wednesdays
have
and
to be-
Thursdays?
So it'd
Okay.
have to be Tuesday, by
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
After 1 o'clock?
Tuesday's a board meeting too, okay? I don't care, either day,
Okay.
or if it's only Tuesday, I don't care, anytime. What about you?
I'm free that day.
Okay,
Date? Okay.
3/8?
3/8, yep. And I'll set up the time, I'll let everybody know, but he can't be here till after 1, so that you guys can work on whatever until then. And then, in accordance with that, I did tell you the date. So on 2/10, on the 10th of this week, training from 1 to 3 with Tina and, another person on our new financial program we're moving to. Department head meetings is on the 15th. After the meeting, I'll talk to the board members and with Jared to verify the date so I can send them over. And that will be via, like a Skype program we have, Teams it's called, that we will use, and the blocked off half-hour time for each department. Can be done either in this room or over in the board's room. And then, the 8th, 9th, and 10th we set up, so we're good there. That's my,
That it?
Yep.
Number 3 is extension of the sign moratorium.
I can summarize this real quickly, Mr. Mayor. So what we've got is, the village board determined previously that you were looking to update and amend the zoning pertaining to signs in a number of respects. And you didn't want someone to be able to apply for a sign permit, et cetera, during that interim. So what you did was you adopted a sign moratorium that would basically freeze everything, so no one could apply for and have a sign application process, couldn't install a new sign, et cetera. The moratorium was for a 6-month window. That 6-month window expires March 20th. I was contacted by Lee, and he explained that although a lot of work's been performed on it, I know you've participated as well, it wasn't going to be in a position where you'd have the local law to amend your zoning and signs by March 20th. So the only way to really remedy that is to extend your sign moratorium. So what you've got before you is the paperwork that would do that. Now, the most you could accomplish this evening would be to set a public hearing at some point down the road, potentially at your next meeting in March. And if you did that, that would still give you time, following the public hearing, to adopt the local law, to get it filed, et cetera, and the proposed paperwork you have is for a 3-month moratorium. But that's your judgment call, whether you want a moratorium to go that long. What I did was I took the liberty of just setting it at 3 months, but then it's got language in it that you could even, if you adopt a 3-month moratorium, you could still cancel it if you're able to get the zoning in place before the 3-month window would expire. So it gives you some flexibility with it. But again, tonight, the most you could do is set a public hearing if you're inclined to proceed.
is 3 months enough? An extension of 3 months enough for you guys?
Well, I would kind of think so, Russ, what do you think?
It's better than nothing. The one thing I would hate to see is this moratorium get canceled, and then we're right back to the same position we were before the moratorium. We've been working rather hard at this. It's an interesting balance to keep what's fair to the business people and what's right by the residents, and so there's more details there than you would think, but we are making progress. We're meeting again next week, and we're actually starting meetings earlier to get some more time in, because I think time is of the essence of this. But my opinion would be, I would like to see the moratorium continue, so that we can do this the right way.
Can you tell me when
If the board wants to extend it more than the 3, do it now, and then you can always eliminate it.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest, if the board were inclined to number one, extend your moratorium, and if you thought, well, 3 months might still be a little bit tight, you could still schedule a public hearing for next month for let's say a 4-month extension of your signed moratorium. And then again, the language you could have in the local law would allow you to cancel the moratorium if you didn't need 3 months or 4 months, if you were able to get things adopted, but that'd be your call. But again, the first step would be to schedule a public hearing.
So we can set it for March 8th at 5:15. And it probably would be better to go with 4 months with language that it can be canceled.
Right.
Is that an agreement?
Yep.
But no automatic extension if we're not good at 4 months.
You can't have an automatic extension beyond, it's gotta be for specific periods of time. But with I've prepared and provided Molly you the notice public hearing, if you want, that can
It's all right there.
that can just be edited to make it, 4 months instead of 3.
I'm good with 4 months.
Yeah.
5:15 PM.
You wanna make a motion that we have?
I'll make a motion that we, sign the moratorium, for 4 months, if we need to.
Oh,
No roll call,
It's just
okay.
a public
For-
hearing.
You're making
we're
a
doing a
motion.
public hearing. I'll
Yeah.
second that,
And
Yep.
public hearing.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So we'll move that to March 8th at 5:15 and propose a 4-month extension. Number 4 is mandate zoning and planning board training. There are websites out there that those on the zoning and planning board can partake, have their training certified, and it is something everybody should get some type of credit with training.
Need to make a motion to mandate that they're required to have that training to sit on the board for zoning and planning, correct?
Yes.
You have to have a minimum of 4 hours credit or training hours each year.
And it's on the web, or we can go somewhere. JCC.
Tug Hill has their annual government conference. You can do it in 1 day. I think you can get 5 credits there. You can carry credits ahead. I mean, if someone wants to sit at home and go through, there's a lot of them on Tug Hill. I think Jefferson County Planning has some. You can sit there and they'll issue you the certificate, and then we just keep track of it accordingly. But you can build you can take more than 4, but that's a minimum.
So it's really not, it's not gonna be a hardship for people to be able to do this.
Correct.
On planning.
They can do it at home.
I mean,
Right, they can do it at home.
What this village has done before I came around, Mark Gibo held one, maybe for a regional one, for maybe the town in Hammond,
We
and
did it
people
here.
came
We did one here.
with it.
We had a lot of people.
that was the easy way to do it, and now they're all online, so.
Yeah,
And I
well-
think, it's especially helpful to newer members of zoning and planning I found it helpful when I did it, because who knew the difference between some of these things? So I I would like to make a motion.
That turning stone issue, there's also, Jefferson County Planning has them at JCC, 2 in the spring, 2 in the fall, each of them worth 2 hours credit for sitting there an hour and a half. They're free. They haven't had as many in the last 2 years because of COVID, but, that's another, there's three possibilities.
Russ, you're on planning.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? You have a problem with 4 hours a year?
No, in fact, I have been to the Tug Hill sponsored ones when they had them at Jefferson Community College, and they were quite helpful, and I'm going to be loath to admit I haven't been to one in a little while, but, I know I can speak with some certainty that I think there are members on the planning board that have never been to a training session, and, this might,
Zoning, too.
might be a good idea just to, get a little more education and make some sound decisions instead of, some of the decisions that are being made now on these boards.
Okay.
So we have the option of online at Watertown, and then in April is the Tug Hill at Turning Stone.
So, all right, I'd like to make a motion to mandate 4 hours minimally of training for zoning and planning board members. Information can be gotten from Lee on where that can be held, and it will have to be tracked by the office. So,
A second.
Motion made by trustee Fulmer, seconded by trustee DeRiga to mandate 4 hours of training per year for both the zoning and planning. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed?
Judy, if I may, what's the consequence of not doing this? I mean, you can mandate it, but
I was told, when I was on zoning before I became a board member, I was told that if I didn't do it, I was off the zoning board. There has to be a,
You can do it at home. I mean,
if you do it online, you print out your own certificate and bring it in here to the office.
right. I think the only issue is if we start throwing, and I'm all for this, but I think one of the issues is if you start removing people from the boards, we all know how difficult it is to find people that want to serve on these boards.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, we're saying from today, everybody on planning and zoning has a year to get 4 hours in, correct? That's,
yeah.
Is that how you want it? I mean, I'll have to write a letter up. Do you want it?
I mean,
I think the village board has the jurisdiction to relax it if they, say all of a sudden we have another COVID thing that's worse than we ever had. You do have the authority, I believe, to relax that requirement. But, you know, that's.
But again, I mean, how
case-by-case
safe it is
situation.
to sit at home and take a course. You know, a whole year to spend 4 hours.
Yeah, it couldn't be much easier.
Yeah. With that, so we have made the motion and voted yes.
and include in my motion within a year, everybody has to have 4 hours.
That stone is April, do you remember what date that is? It is in April.
I don't know. It's in April.
Well, I'm not going to turn stone.
Tuesday, April 19th.
We can get a list of our options and include it in the letter.
You need, if you put in there, March 1st should be your deadline for the turning stone, because I think March 7th is the early fee, anytime after the rate goes up from 75 to 100, 150, but I would put in March 1st as a deadline for the turning stone, because it'll cost the village less
Postmarked
money.
before March 18th. After the 19th and on, it's 150.
And aren't they free online?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I did mine online. Okay, so do we need to vote?
You already did.
We
already did.
Okay.
We did.
You did.
So I'll sit with that. Number 5, electric car stations.
We had brought that up at the last meeting, and Molly has the name.
I brought it up about it, yeah.
Okay,
And I sent an email, I sent an email
Yeah,
to
I-
trustee
Hey,
Eagle and trustee
Millet.
Millet on Lee's suggestion where we could go for a start.
You,
Did you do
I
it?
can resend it to you.
okay,
It's called Max Solar.
Yeah.
Out of Carthage.
all right.
Okay.
Shooky had called, but now that he's sick, we'll have to
I'll see, and I brought it up.
redo it.
I'll,
I do have a phone number for Molly, if you wanna talk to him directly, I can
Yeah,
get it to you tomorrow.
Okay,
yeah,
I think I
give it to her
included
and
it.
give it, phone,
Yeah.
for me to call him would be better, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I just get the number and call him up.
Okay.
Have we talked about tentatively where putting one or two, if they will do it?
You gotta see what they're gonna cost first.
I thought it was free.
I don't
I don't
know,
know.
We need to get the info first.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was free, but yeah, all right.
Okay, new business, fireworks display permit. God. Is that next week, 4th of July? Oh my God, it would be so nice to get out of this cold. So the Alexandria Bay Chamber, as they always do, put on a majestic fireworks display. This is when is the 4th of July?
Monday,
It is
Monday
4th
the
of
4th.
July, 20 minutes. So,
I make a motion, we give him permission
Sign.
to, do the fireworks display.
I'll second.
we really want fireworks in Alexandria and 4th. Yes, motion made by trustee DeRio, second by trustee Fulmer, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Number 2, new business, Justice Court records. The decision is up to the village board on whether we keep village justice court records here in this building or send them to the town. And it's been several times that the town is calling and want our clerks to go through and search for stuff, and no, there's
When-
approximately
I thought
50
we
boxes.
Yeah.
Right.
When we, turned them over, it was a decision that the village and town could work together to move them. But legally, we can't go through the records for them. The court clerks have to come here and go through them. So there was a discretion over that. They were asking us to pull all the records for them, and that's where it came to, the village needs to decide what we want to do.
Right. I thought we were gonna, okay. My take on this is, we, move them to the town office up there, and this will be over and done with. I make a motion that we, take the records to the town office.
I'll second.
Motion made by trustee DeRio, second by trustee Fulmer.
Help from the village and the
To
town
move
employees.
justice court records
Okay.
from the village to the
All
town.
right, I want that in there.
Yes,
Village and town employees
yes,
We're all gonna work
can
together.
come down here
yes.
There's
and
a
move 'em.
song somewhere
Oh,
about
Okay,
that.
okay.
and that'll be over with.
So we
And
can,
then we have
we
to
can get
bring-
that done and get them up there, so everybody here is not
Yeah.
bothered when they call and say, I need
Yeah.
this.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? To work here done.
So you're the village end employee
Oh,
in charge.
I don't want all those guys doing it, I want town down here doing it too.
Another great sign that's getting towards warmer weather is advertising for summer employees.
I thought we should
For
start
dock,
early.
lifeguards, golf park attendants.
Is anybody out? It's docks, lifeguards, park attendant. Oh,
What do you-
I know it was, meter attendant, meters.
What's the park attendant do? And isn't there a separate person that does bathrooms?
That's the
Or
park
is that-
attendant.
That's the part. Hopefully, if we have that one gentleman that we had last year that.
Okay, but somebody else cuts the grass at the
Yeah,
park and
we do the
the,
grass usually,
okay,
so.
okay, and I'm gonna call the, state, see what Keewaydin's paying this year for lifeguards. And I don't know about, what do you do, dock attendants, minimum wage?
They're all minimum.
And I did talk to, what school district did I tell you?
Indian River
Indian
School
River
District.
School District, about, they're gonna run 2 courses this year for lifeguards. They told me to call back the end of March. So that would be one. And is there a second course that they need to take, or is all,
It's all, they do it all in
all in
one.
one? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Yes, because their stipulations for the 2 years, Mr. Curley doesn't accept it. We have to have it for every year, both trainings, so.
Right.
Okay.
But it's, the training is all done at Indian River
Mhm.
School, at their pool, okay. So I'm gonna call them in March, and hopefully
Okay.
we make that happen. Do you need a motion for that?
No? Good. Anything else in the new business? Public concerns? Public concerns? We're all set. Motion to go into executive for litigation and specific personnel.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session for litigation and civic personnel.
Motion made by trustee Urias, second by trustee Paul. All in favor?
Aye. Okay.
6:19.
Jared, the 15th is Tuesday.